Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video. So today, decoy and deflection patterns, where you kind of decoy a piece onto a square or deflect it away from a square to achieve a tactic or some advantage. So here, what happened? The pawn is just captured here on e5. So it's white's turn to move. What can we do here? Let's take a look at this. And we're looking to be able to deflect or decoy a piece for some advantage. All right. How can we do that? And when you're solving chess problems, chess puzzles, or looking at tactics, you definitely want to take a look at checks, captures, and threats in that order. So we could look at the checks. Are there any dangerous checks here? It looks like our knight could check here or here. And that looks to be the only type of check available. All right. Well, what do we have? This one looks like it might be a little bit tricky. So, is there a possibility of bringing the bishop here and attacking the queen and maybe setting up a possible fork here of the king and the rook? So maybe something like that. Unless there's something better. I don't know if that falls under the exact deflection and decoy. Maybe we jump here immediately with the knight attacking the rook. And then what? And that also kind of opens this up for our queen, but the bishop is protected. So, if the rook moves and attacks our knight, this is a tough one. All right, pause the video at any time if you need more time to think, or at the beginning of each problem if you want to solve it before I begin talking and giving away clues. All right, well, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking bringing the bishop up here, attacking the queen, and then maybe the threat of jumping my knight up here with a fork of king and rook, something like that. Is there something I'm missing here? Anyway, I'll try that. That way we can move the video along. All right, it looks like that is what they were looking for. Now we can just jump the knight in here and we have a fork. Now, I don't know if there was much decoy and deflection going on there. This was just kind of a basic fork, a fork of the king and the rook. But let's try another problem here and see if it has more of a decoy and deflection theme, more than that last problem. All right. Queen has just moved, attacking our queen. Okay. So, what can we do here? All right. So it's black's turn. Queen and rook. Well, the queen is protecting our rook here, from the king capturing it. So, what else do we have available to us? We want to look for checks first. So if we try and check, along this line, the queen could just capture. But well, oh, it looks like our opponent has two queens, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Uh, Two queens are worth what, about 18 pawns versus two rooks and a queen. So they have an extra passed pawn as well. So we need to do something here. Maybe we check over here. Oh, and that does protect our rook down this diagonal. So it looks like our opponent would be forced to block with their queen here. And then perhaps we could decoy the king away from the protection of that queen. All right, so try and solve the entire problem in your head if you can. That's better for calculating and improving your calculation skills. But I tried to pick easier problems between 1500. Some go all the way up to a 1500, or sorry, between 500 to a 1500 rating level. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and check. They're going to block with the queen, and now we use the decoy deflection method here. We want to decoy the king away from the protection of the queen here. So we use our rook, and now we can pick this off. All right. So we're ahead in material. We should be able to stop this passed pawn. Our king is somewhat safe here. Their king is open. All right, that was 1294. Let's move on to the next one. We have a rook jumping forward here. Maybe with the threat of moving here and checking our king. Maybe wanting to help push this pawn forward. All right. Well, looks like once again we can decoy. Oh, maybe not. We have to be careful here. I was thinking, pause the video if you need more time, but if we go here, if the king captures, well, then we could capture. But there's an in-between move of the rook. Oh, no, I guess, never mind. That's not possible. Excuse me. Yeah, because this is check, that would work. All right, so that looks to be the way to go. Yeah, now we grab their rook. Oh, they want to go further here. All right, well, we just head them off and go after the pawns, and we'll eat up their pawns and use our extra pawns to win in the end game. All right, the queen has launched forward here, attacking what? Our rook, or excuse me, our bishop is protecting our queen, and queen is protecting this bishop. All right. There is an attack building up here. They're lined up on our king, so maybe that is something to look at. Does this check here with the queen sacrifice work? We'll have to take a look at that. If we do that and the rook captures, if the rook doesn't capture, then what? We just grab their knight over here. They could grab our bishop. Also, these are lined up on each other. All right, once again, queen captures. If the rook captures, then what? It's pinned to the king. We can go here. but then they could block with their bishop. So maybe that won't work. All right. So maybe we reverse the order of that. Sometimes that's a way to solve a tactic. You might make the wrong move first. So instead of bringing our queen here first, maybe we need to capture the rook first. Then once they capture, then we could go here, capturing a pawn, then going after this knight possibly. All right, so let's try that. Okay. And it looks like this is what they wanted. You know, they didn't go any further, so they're in check. Once the king moves, we could go after this knight. If they take our bishop, then we could, maybe go after this pawn, and then we would be attacking their bishop here. Oh, wait, we have our bishop unprotected here as well. So a lot going on. All right. There we removed the defender, kind of decoyed them away, and we were able to get this pawn with check. All right. King has moved forward. What do we have? Do we have any checks? Well, if our queen goes here, the bishop could capture. So, do we sacrifice the rook for the bishop? Here. Oh, then if the rook captures, then we go there with check and pick off the rook. All right. Well, I hope you found that one. All right. Interesting tactic there. So, yeah, you'll notice sometimes you combine multiple tactics. So we combined a decoy with a fork there. All right, here we go. On to the next one. King has moved forward up to e5 here. So what can white do at this point? Okay. We're going to decoy the king away from the defense of the bishop here. So I hope you were able to find that one. Figure out in your head, how you can do that. Hopefully you found pawn attacking the king, and the king will be forced to move away from the defense of this bishop. So check, and we pick the bishop up, going ahead in material there. All right. The next one. Queen has captured a pawn, attacks our queen, and now... Oh, yes, that was a mistake. See if you can find out why that was such a mistake for white here. Pause the video if you need more time to think. If not, you have to look out for those checks. So the only way to check is our rook here. And that is the winning move, because after they capture, the queen will no longer be protected, and we can pick that off and just be ahead in material. So here we go. A simple little decoy. We decoyed that rook away from the defense of of their queen and allowed us to capture. All right, next problem. Rook has just captured a pawn here. Our knight can pick that off, but then our rook will not be defended because the king is attacking. So, what do we want to do here? here, instead of decoying the king onto a square, we're going to deflect the king away from a square here. So pause, see if you can figure this out. But we're going to push this pawn, attacking the king. So the king will have to step back and then no longer be attacking our rook, and that'll give us time to pick off their rook, and ours will still be safe. All right, here we go. And now we can just pick that up. Okay, on to the next problem. Knight is under attack by this pawn. What are we going to do about it? Well, our rooks are in a battery formation here, protecting the other rook's protecting that one. So what can we do? Well, Well, we want to look for checks for sure. So we'll take a look at those first. The only check possible is what? The knight can't check, so this rook. If the rook goes here to check, knight could capture. The other rook captures with check. The king will be forced to move here. Oh, then do we attack the king, forcing him to capture our rook here? And then we can jump up here with a fork of king and queen. Oh, okay, yeah, it's a lot of arrows, so see if you can figure that out in your head. But is that enough? We have 5, 6 pawns versus their 6 pawns. Do we get any advantage out of that? Okay, well then we'll be attacking this pawn here, and it can't be defended, I don't think. So, all right. Looks like that'll work for the end game. All right, here we go. We're going to, as I said, bring this up. The knight's going to take it. Our other rook's going to come up with a check. The king will run here. We'll bring our rook into the corner, forcing the king to capture here. And then we'll bring our knight up here, forking the king and the queen. So crazy little tactical combination there. And this works because our knight was covering that square. So now we fork, and we're ahead in material. I guess you need to double check your calculations, because I was thinking that their knight was still on the board, but no, it's gone. Okay, here we go. Problem number 10. The rook is retreating back here because our king was attacking. So now what? It's adding to the pressure on our knight, and we only have one defender with 2 attackers. So what do we have? What do we have here? Okay. Oh, all right. A lot going on here. Pause the video if you want more time to think about it. But we have to take a look at our bishop, firing up this diagonal. Our rook aimed up there, with a possible back rank mate in the corner. If we could move this knight out of the way. But how and where? How do we do that? getting tricky. You know, we have a rook on an open file. Do we jump up here, delivering a check? Then, if the queen captures, we could try to fork, but the rook could capture. Then what? We capture. I don't know if that works. Once again, a lot of arrows flying around there. Okay. Well, we have this back rank mate threat here with rook and bishop. If we could move the knight out of the way. But where? If we just drop our knight back to here, well, there's a possibility of a block. Well, no, that wouldn't work. Our knight could just capture that. So maybe that's where we got to go. If we drop back, but then the rook could drop back to here and cover the back rank. So maybe we need to just immediately check with our knight. Check. Queen or bishop would be forced to capture, queen or rook. So the rook would probably capture because our bishop is covering this square. So if the rook captures, oh, then our bishop could capture. Okay. Knight checks. Rook captures. Bishop captures. Queen captures. Opening things up for our rook here. The queen would have to block that. And we would be able to deliver a mate here, it looks like. All right, try to calculate that in your head, you know, especially for you beginners, that may be difficult. But these are good patterns to learn. You know, when you have the bishop, the rook here, and the king's trapped in the corner. So here we go. Okay, then we take, we're renewing the mate threat here. But now we can check because we decoyed the queen away from the defense of this square. So check, and the only thing possible here is for the queen to block, but then either rook can capture here and deliver mate. All right, I'll try and run through 10 more problems, and let me speed them up a little bit. So they captured here. Now it's our turn. What are we going to do? Well, immediately I was thinking, do we check the king and have a discovered attack on the queen? But the queen or the king can move forward protecting the queen. So does that give us anything? Oh, then we move up here, attacking the king, decoying it away from the defense of the queen. All right, here we go. And then we pick the queen off. All right, on to the next one. We have a rook moving here, attacking our queen. What are we going to do about that? Well, let's look for those checks first. Okay. We have a rook or a queen. Our queen could capture the knight with check, but I don't know. That doesn't look too wise. Our rook could check first. Then once the king captures, queen could capture the knight with check. Giving us time to bring the other rook over. So check, capture, queen captures with check, forcing the king, up the board would probably be best. Up, over here. Other rook delivers a check, and then the king would probably have to go here, and then we can deliver a mate up with our rook up in the corner there. All right, I know that was a lot. Try and figure that out in your head if you can. A lot for beginners. If there's any advanced players watching, they might have been able to figure this out. All right. Check. We decoy the king away from the defense of the knight. Then we capture with check. But we have this open file, so we deliver a check with the rook. And now the only thing the king can do is go here, but our rook would be able to deliver a mate right here. All right, next problem. Queen jumps forward, putting pressure on our knight, but it's defended by our queen. So, what do we have? All right. Pause the video if you need more time to think. If not, let's take a look at this. We have queen and rook lined up here, but our knight is in the way. If we could move that knight out of the way, then we have a discovered checkmate possibility. But what is the best way to do that? Where do we move this knight? Probably here, because that delivers a check. So if we go there, checking, the king would have to move, and our queen could deliver a mate, it looks like. All right, here we go. And mate. All right, on to the next problem. Queen attacked, and this one looks familiar, so hopefully you remember this one because it popped up earlier. All right, look for the checks, the most important thing. Checks are most forcing, and hopefully you found the rook, decoying this rook away from the defense of the queen, and we can capture. All right, here we go. And we're ahead in material. Next problem. Pawn is just captured. The queens are confronting one another. So what should we do? All right. Well, look for those checks. As I always say, checks are most forcing, and that will help you find the answer to this tactical problem. We want to decoy the king away from the defense of this queen. How do you do that? Hopefully you found the bishop capturing with check, forcing the king to capture, because that's the only thing available, and then we snatch their queen. All right, here we go. Next problem. Try and do these last 5. Okay. All right, material. We have 6 pawns versus 6. Knights, rook. Material is even. There is this threat here of knight and queen piling up on this pawn. So we need to act quickly and neutralize this attack. Look for checks. Do we have any checks? There is one possible check, and hopefully that will help you solve this. So take a look, pause the video. If not, here we go. We're going to sacrifice our queen, decoying the king over to this square, enabling us to fork king and queen. The king will probably move down here. We capture, their king ends up here, but then we'll be ahead. Rook for a knight in the endgame. So take a look at that, see if you can figure it out. If you're ready, here we go. Oh, and they didn't even defend. I guess the pawn or the knight can drop back. But the point is, we'll end up being ahead a rook for a knight in the endgame. That should be enough to win. Okay, here we go. Knight is retreated, discovering a battery attack of queen and bishop on our lone bishop, which is not even protected here. We could just capture their bishop. But do we have anything better? Anything better? Oh, the decoy. The decoy comes to the rescue. Decoy and deflection, they're really kind of linked together. You're kind of forcing a piece to move, either onto a square or away from a square. So here, pause the video if you need time to think, but if not, we're looking at this. Capture, attacking the queen. Then if the queen captures, it decoys the queen away from the defense of this bishop, and then we can just pick up the bishop. So here we go. And we grab that bishop, and we're attacking the rook as well. Okay. Well, we got 3 more problems. Here we go. Queen has dropped back to e2, trying to defend the back rank a little bit, maybe, because of the threat of capturing this. But the bishop could have captured, guarding the back rank, to stop threats here. Okay. So. Oh, there's another threat. So checks. Look at all the possible checks. Well, it looks like we have a battery, possible mate here if this knight was not protecting. So looks like we need to knock that knight out. And then if they deal with that, we'll have a mate over here. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. If we take that, the pawn can capture, leading to a discovered defense, I guess, of this pawn. So, what can we do? Oh man. All right, little more complicated. See if you can figure it out in your head. If we capture, and then they capture with the pawn so they can defend this, well then our rook has time to go up here, delivering a back rank check, and it still doesn't quite work because the king can move here. So when you do tactics, when you're trying to solve them, sometimes you have to change the order up of the moves. It might be the same moves but in a different order. So what if we immediately check with the rook? If that happens, if the knight captures, well then we just deliver an immediate mate here with our queen. If the queen captures, which is more likely, so check, queen captures, then we can pick this off, and threaten the mate here, but that does give the queen time to go over here and protect. So yeah, this is a tricky one. All right. But I think I'm on the right track here. Maybe we knock the knight out first. No. we didn't like that. So rook. If the queen captures... Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Deliver a check. Queen captures. We knock out the knight. The queen will be forced to protect here to prevent this mate. So, is that going to work though? Because then what do we do? I just don't know if that is enough of a follow-up. Rook check. Queen captures. We take the knight. Their queen will have to go here to protect and defend against the mate. Then what do we do? How do we follow up? All right, this may be wrong. Yep, that's not the way to go. All right, do we take this first? Okay, apparently that's what they wanted. Okay. Now, I'm thinking if I go here, the king can just move. Oh, then that won't be covered. Okay, so I didn't look at this problem deep enough. Yeah. So, if the king moved here, then we could end up going here. So, if I go back, yeah, we go there. And then after this, if the queen, or excuse me, if the king moved here, well, then we could go there. And then, yeah, that would be enough of an attack as well. And we're attacking that rook. All right, let's knock out these last two problems. Here we go. Okay, king has moved over one, and what are we going to do? Okay. Well, we have to watch out because of check and mate here. So we need to act immediately with a check of our own, perhaps. So, yeah, pause the video if you need more time. If not, I'm thinking check, checking the king. The king, well, if they capture our queen, well, then we can just bring our rook up here and check. And if they block, we'll capture and deliver a mate. And if the king just moves over one, well then our queen can move here and mate. All right, here we go. Okay, we're on to the final problem. Knight has just retreated back to help in the defense of their king. We have this pawn moved very far forward. The threat is this. Delivering a smothered mate, but the knight is now guarding that. So, what do we do? Just capture that? Just capture that knight? And knock out that defender? That might be a way to go. But we have to ask ourselves, what can they do in the meantime? Yeah, I think we capture And then if they try to recapture, well, then we can deliver mate here. So they would not be able to recapture our queen. They would have to make some escape hole for the king. All right, but they're not even looking at anything further because we would just go ahead and material there up by a piece. And of course they can't capture because our knight would deliver a mate here and the rook would protect that pawn. If they play something else, we just trade down more material, knock the queens off the board, I guess. All right, well, I hope these decoy and deflection tactic patterns were helpful for you. Feel free to leave any comments, like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.